you'll see a poll at the top of your screens. I don't think it's up there yet, but shortly as you enter, if you can all fill that out just to get us started. We'll give it a couple more minutes here as you finish up your polls. We're answering the poll here. All right, we'll give it one more minute. Please submit your answers if you haven't already. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and close it out then. Share results. Okay. Um, all right, first question here is when you face a new challenge, what's your first instinct? The majority ruled plan it out step by step, followed by jump in and figure it out as I go. So two very polar opposite ways of or modes of handling any sort of new challenge. But as we learned last week, we all have our different sort of methodologies and our action plans. Second question, which of these made the biggest difference in your growth this semester? I want to hear this one. Okay, building better habits. Oh, that's awesome. Curious to hear later on what kind of habits you may have picked up in this second semester, spring semester. Followed by taking more responsibility for my actions. So, like accountability. And across the board, learning to bounce back from setbacks. That's super, super important. Like not getting, you know, too hung up on maybe quote unquote on failures, which aren't failures. It's just it's kind of like an impasse or an obstacle. But grit's super important, as we've discussed, and understanding my natural strengths. So that's always key is to know thyself. And number three, if you could carry one key lesson from the semester into next year, what would it be? Growth takes effort and time. Well, that's like really important because it's key to understand and recognize that, like growth doesn't happen every day. It's all or all the time or for, it's not a quick turnaround. In other words, it's the little steps that you take that really can greatly change an outcome. Small habits create big change. So again, following that same principle. And neck and neck are how I communicate matters, and my mindset shapes my results. Awesome. So we're probably going to dive into each one of these things a little bit more as we go through this week's topic. All right. Next slide, please. Kind of an overview of what we covered last week using this Colby method or action plan, where we learned a little bit more about ourselves. We explored how knowing your natural instincts helps you work smarter by understanding what the Colby Index measures. We learned how each person's action modes shapes the way they take action and they solve problems. That can be across the board and in a group project or group setting, um, depending on where you lie on that scale, that has a very different outcome and can be a really big help to anyone's group by recognizing and collaborating across different strengths, we discovered how to build confidence, strengthen teamwork, and succeed in school relationships and future careers. Again, this is just like understanding a little bit more about yourself and seeing how these can be, beneficial to any leadership or any sort of group, and understanding that about yourself. Next slide, please. All right, this week's learning objective. So I think the overall, um, you know, topic for this week is just taking it all in, what and thinking back on what we discussed this entire semester, week by week, and just putting it all together and seeing what kind of stood out to us. It could be different all around. Maybe some subjects resonated with some people more than others, and would love to kind of dive into that a little bit more. But out of this week, we hope to develop a growth mindset and habits, build grit, resilience, and consistency. So small, repeated efforts compound into lasting change. So, as the poll mentioned, these little teeny tiny, what seem to be small choices or habits that you implement in your life, how those can really have can become like a monumental change in really seeing you grow in um, or your growth. Taking ownership and thinking critically, identify biases, questions, assumptions, design better environments, and turn awareness into accountable action. Um, you know, Understanding how you fit into each equation and the impact that your choices make, not only on yourself but on others, that's a tremendous step in your growth. Communicate and collaborate with purpose, express yourself authentically and professionally, leverage your strengths, and act with integrity to build trust, teamwork, and leadership. As you go out into like step into, like university or work, presenting yourself is in the way that you present yourself and what you want to put out there are really important takeaways or things to keep in mind as you and how you present yourself. Next slide, please. All right. This slide over is like an overview of all the different topics we discussed and covered in the second semester. So we did quite a bit of work. We discussed the mindset fundamentals. Um, well, let me take a step back, actually. So as we take a look at this slide, I want you to think about um, the different topics that we covered through here and what might have like really resonated with you and what stood out to you, what, you know, um, may have been really impactful to you. Was there a message that really particularly like stood out to you or that you were able to really take to heart or that may have created some sort of change? So really think about that as we dive into this and give like a little overview of each one of these lessons because I know it's a lot here to digest. I'll cover this just as a reminder. And then and then we'll, you know, work on our workbook questions and think about this in a little more detail. So for mindset fundamentals, we thought about these SMART and stretch goals and how to develop mindset, habits, and resilience, which we'll need for consistent growth. Investments, if you remember here, we talked a lot about the different financial products. We covered risk and diversification, just like a really high level view of um, varying financial products that exist to keep in mind. Taxes, understanding why taxes matter, the types of taxes, you know, that you pay. Problem solving using critical thinking and tools like the six-step circle and five whys to solve problems. This also helps identify the root causes and create effective solutions. With becoming your own decision architect, we covered understanding how these choices are influenced and use nudges to design environments that support better decisions and habits. Grit and resilience. We built grit and resilience through long-term goals, consistent effort, and learning from setbacks. So consistently just pushing through and not seeing those opportunities with or meeting those moments with fear, but looking at it as an opportunity to grow and push past something. The four agreements, practicing integrity, clear communication, and doing your best to build stronger relationships and personal growth. The practice and power of habits, building long-lasting habits through these small, consistent actions and really seeing how that can really carry through and, you know, support long-term growth. Accountability, taking ownership of your choices and actions to build trust, reliability, leadership, and personal growth. Business Communication 101, communicating professionally through strong presence, having a clear message, building a resume, cover letter, any sort of your communications, how you want to present yourself, exploring your natural strengths, understanding and applying your Colby strengths, your action modes to improve self-awareness, problem solving, and teamwork. Well, that was a lot to cover. So let's go that, and I don't want to talk anymore. It's now about you guys. So can we go to the next slide? I believe this is going to be a poll, and then we'll go into are we going to do the poll or the online workbook question?
The poll, I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay, cool. So yeah, let's get a temperature check first on um, with this poll. It's kind of going to ask you a few different questions here. Um, Fill this out, and then we will jump right into the online workbook question, please. All right. I think we have a few that did not reply, but that's okay. We'll just end the poll. I think we've got a good barometer here. So let's take a look at which of these topics spoke to you. Let's see. I think the winner here. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. I'm sharing my results now, or the results. I think it's kind of like spread across the board. Accountability, business communication, problem solving, taxes, seem to be like the top, and grit and resilience, the four agreements. Yeah. All right. So that's great. So as you, we're going to put some time on the clock here for you to answer this workbook question. Which lesson from this semester has had the biggest impact on you, and how have you used it in your daily life? If you all can please take a moment to answer this in your workbook. We'll put like, what, a minute and a half, 2 minutes on the clock, and then we will reconvene and please be ready to share. All right. Can we get some volunteers here? Kendra, or yeah, let's start. Sorry, I just saw Kendra's name first.
For me, I feel like this semester the biggest lesson was the workshop that we had about not letting what other people say affect you. I feel like for me it was important because I feel like a lot of people in like my day-to-day life say stuff that like they either just say to like say or just like to like talk about something. But I feel like I have learned to not let what others say affect.
Ooh, Kendra, you cut out there.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
there we go. There we go.
Um, but I feel like I've learned to not let what other people say affect me.
That's awesome. Did you like have, was it like a choice and a decision that you just had to start? And like, has it kind of picked up momentum now where it's like all automatic?
Yeah, like I feel like when people say stuff to me, like I feel like I get less bothered by like what they say.
And has that like helped you in your everyday life, maybe like how you approach things, or does it keep you, I don't know, does it allow you to, try more things, for example? I don't know.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I feel like it like helps me just kind of be out there more because like I don't kind of focus on what people are saying. I just do like what I do.
That is awesome. Because that really allows you the space to be true to yourself and really think about like what it is that you want to do and what your focus is rather than letting other people impress, and control maybe something that you would normally go for. So awesome. Mia, I saw you had your hand up.
Yeah, for me, I would say I really liked the like become your own decision architect lecture and like especially building and I think I like building grit and resilience as well because I think it just helped me realize like all the choices I make and like my habits they like affect my future and like, it's not all about like the motivation I had to do it. It's just about planning ahead for like future Mia and like, whatever she has going on in the future. And I think even now I've started using a lot of these like habits we've built in like my actual life. And like, I've started planning out better. I feel like my study habits have improved and I make like small decisions that kind of support me and my goals like moving forward. And I don't feel like everything has to be such a big deal or like a big gesture for my future anymore. And I feel like these two lessons in particular just kind of taught me like about being more disciplined in life and like leading with discipline.
That is so much. That is awesome. Wow. That's like an entire year's worth of work that you did there. So, well, kudos to you. So, are you thinking about this summer and how to maybe take some of those things to, whatever you plan for this summer?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it makes me like, I go to college next summer. And so I feel like it makes me more determined to like, apply to scholarships so I can have like a breezy, like I don't have to worry about tuition and, like take summer classes if the school I choose offers them. Like it
Yeah.
makes me want to be more on top of my stuff so I can get things done.
That's fantastic. And especially when you have the chance and the opportunity as a senior or this gap, in time, like continuing to push through.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you, Mia. All right. I want to hear from more of you. Anyone else? Because you know you're going to get picked on. Let's see here. All right, Brandon.
The most important lesson was the one about taxes because it showed me how much money that we really make after the taxes are put in our salary and the connection that and like the future that we had about going to like utilities, jobs, and how we buy stuff and how taxes, income tax, salary tax affect our money. It shows me how much money we actually like take home after taxes.
Right? It's scary, isn't it? Were you were you at the field trip as well, at the finance center, where you like walk through one of those modules?
Oh wait, can you repeat it again?
I was asking if you also went to the field trip with the finance field trip where you walk through one of those modules. It was like real life
Yeah, yeah,
situation.
yeah. Yeah.
And how frightening was that?
It was a little scary going through the other like places and seeing how fast my money like um goes down and then how much money I had left after everything that we did in the modules.
Yeah. So like I say scary, but with planning, I think that if anything, what a lot of these lessons show you is just like with planning, it's not so scary because you at least are you're asking yourself the questions in real time so that you can prepare yourself for what that all means. It's not gonna surprise you, so there are no surprises there, but yeah, just real life planning. Well, yeah, the taxes were a heavy subject, but that's also something to think about. And especially as are probably all getting ready to take on jobs and making sure that you can read your W-2s properly and filling those W-2s out properly so you're taking taxes out and you don't have to owe taxes at the end of the year because that is not pretty. Thank you, Brandon. What about somebody else? Come on. Anyone else have like I don't know, a moment where maybe they had a change in maybe a direction or their approach in something, or that they noticed like, maybe I'm gonna, you know, take take a different approach in how I do, you know, X, Y, and Z. What did you write in your yearbook, in your workbook? All right, Weisty stuff, if you can help maybe pick somebody from the group.
Mm, about alumni Arisa.
Okay, in my times of being with you champions, I think the most memorable lesson I took in heart was one of the four agreements. It was always do your best because even though it sounds simple, I like the discussion that our effort matters more than perfection and that our best could look different. So like some days my best can look like excelling academically or like attending all my college lectures even though I only have like three. But other days it might be like trying my hardest even when I'm tired. But I just know that when things aren't ideal, like our growth can come from always trying. And I start putting trust in my own effort. And this mindset honestly helped me become more kinder to myself because I realized that the most important relationship that I'll ever be in is with myself. So if we push ourselves too hard or constantly criticize our mistakes, then that relationship breaks, it like suffers. So when you do your best, we start treating ourselves as someone worth believing in, and I think everyone deserves a chance to see how far they can grow.
Arisa, that is so well put. I think you mentioned so many important things there because there's a difference, there's a really fine line between being your own critic and room for growth versus the negative self-talk that I think sometimes some of us can get into where that's the message that we're giving ourselves in our head and it's not productive at all. It really just keeps us super down and suppressed and actually is counterproductive and makes us almost fearful of our own shadow because we think we're all messing up all the time. So I love that you mentioned that. I love that, you know, the idea that maybe a result that you get isn't the one that you were, meeting a goal or the objective or something, but sometimes we look at that as a failure, but it's not always a failure. It's just like you try that and you have to try something else. And that's where like the grit comes in. So I think you touched on so many special messages there. Thank you. Thank you, Arisa. All right, why don't we go on to the next question then, or the next part? All right, so what happens next? All right, some key points here to keep in mind are these different ideas of growth and personal vision. Um, it's important to remember that growth doesn't just happen in that specific moment. It's something that evolves over time. It's a constant process. It's, like I mentioned, quote unquote, a failure or seeing a result not through. Um, the way that you had actually envisioned it. I mean, that's growth right there. It builds you, it stretches you, it pushes your limits. It's ever growing and it's everlasting. So um, with personal vision, this is an important key, uh, kind of to pin you what you envision in your mind, to look and pin it as and thinking about where you want to be and where you want to go really gives you that direction for, increased uh, productivity and growth. This is a really key point. Um, and then the habits, skills, and confidence you've built so far are foundations, not finish lines. So those things are a nice thing to just like lay groundwork, but it doesn't stop there, right? You just continue to lay more, do more. Maybe they prepare you for the next level in the challenges that you have to face. Also, asking yourself, what's next for me? Like not stopping in that, not getting stopped in your tracks, but thinking about, what else is out there? What else do you want to do? What else do you want to accomplish? What's more? This idea of ever developing, always developing. And lastly, every ending is a beginning. So people who thrive on long term, they see this as every ending as an actual beginning. So, you're continuously growing. It's a part of the process. It's not where you stop. It's you just continue from there. And with that, I think I really want to play this little short that I came across that really means a lot to me right now. I'm at a certain point in my life and I've had this career and all this kind of stuff, but I, um, you know, always think about ways to improve and maximize in what I can actually be, and how I can expand on my learnings. And I think that this is just like somebody that I came across recently, and I'm kind of using these tactics, and it gives like a nice little setup as to, um, this idea. You hear this word a lot, like manifestation, but I love this doctor. He's a neurosurgeon. And he comes from a different place. He doesn't think it's like all of this like magical woo-woo stuff where if you wish upon a star, this is what's going to happen to you. He actually applies like his own neuroscience and practicality to, manifesting this. So this was something that was really meaningful to me this past week, and I wanted to share with you all. So if we can play that really quick before we go into our online workbook question.
The ability to manifest is fundamentally based in neuroscience. If you have an intention, you write it down, then you read it silently, then you read it aloud, then you visualize that, and you do that over and over and over again. What that will do is then embed that into your subconscious. And then these different cognitive brain networks get activated. Once you get this embedded, it activates different parts of your brain. What fires together, wires together. If you create habits, this results in the creation of neural pathways. The mere repetition of those habits actually lays down the circuitry that then gets embedded and then actually makes things happen. The ability to manifest.
Anyway, I think it's a really important thing to just like actively, pursue this and really see your goals through. Like just this little exercise can mean um, all the little difference in the world. It's like a nice little thing to do in the mornings first thing. Um, can we go to the next slide? I believe that's where yeah, the online workbook question is. As you think about what's next, what's one area of your life, school, work, or personal growth where you want to take your next step? And what's one action you can take this week to begin? So set a goal. I think this is asking more about your goal. It could be short term, could be long term. But just think about that next step. Think about your vision board. What is that going to look like? And, part two to that is what's something that you can do to actually see that through. So if we could put time on the clock and then we'll come back here and discuss. All right. Um, can we get some volunteers here? Anyone want to share what they wrote? Oh, I know you don't want to share, but can you please share what you wrote in your workbooks, please? Can we get a volunteer? Yes, Mia, thank you.
So I just said one area I think I want to take my like growth and like my decision making journey is I kind of want to continue being intentional like about the choices I make. And I want to like, really take ownership of my goals because I feel like it's easy to assume that you're taking ownership of your goals, but it's like, are you taking the steps every day, whether they're like big steps or small ones to like, achieving your goals? And so I think one action I want to start with this week at least, it's kind of something I'm already doing. So this is like low key a cop out answer, but like I want to like make a like a weekly plan for myself. So like, I could schedule out my time for like studying or like my tutoring or like even before I used to have like these sessions in my like my schedule and like time for like my hobbies, like, playing video games or like talking to my friends or hanging out. And like I'm
Mhm.
aware, like I don't have to follow it like hour by hour, minute by minute, but at least
Yeah.
like give myself some structure to help me like stay consistent and like I said earlier, like be my own decision architect instead of like waiting for the motivation to come to me.
Yeah, that's a great point, especially when it's so well put, when you go into summer and things kind of get a little wild, like that first week and you're on summer break and you're sleeping in late, you're not eating at the same time, I don't know, your night is your day is your night. It can get a
Exactly.
little wild. But yeah, you take a week and then you come back, you correct a little bit, you add a little structure, like you said, and that kind of sets things back into motion so you can maximize your time.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Mia. Who else? Does it help when we have everyone up on screen? All right. Who else wants to share what you all wrote in your workbooks?
About one of the guys.
Yes. Who wants to share?
Uh,
Gentlemen, you can tag each other if you'd like. No? All right. I'm gonna give it to Miguel Ortega, please. Hi.
Sorry. Yeah, I was kind of multitasking here, but
Yeah, no.
I think about one thing I want to work on my an area I want to work on in my life is my personal growth. Mainly because I do want to improve my work ethics and really just kind of just self-care myself. So
That's great. Do you have a personal goal for this summer, whether that be, I don't know, something more short term that might fall into that?
I think a goal I have right now is just really just being productive. Because I feel like once I'm not productive, I lack on my skills, and then I'm like at a certain point that where I don't feel like doing anything once I come back to like work on like academics or like side projects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just like staying within that structure that Mia was talking about, creating a little structure for yourself. All right, cool. Thank you. All right, who else? Oh yeah, Elizabeth, please. Oh wait, no, she's being admitted. Okay. Can we get another volunteer here? Hello? Anyone? Vanessa,
how
thank you.
about
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. I think an area I could like kind of. Sorry, let me read the question.
Uh yeah, one air.
Okay. yeah, sorry. I think like one area I could work on would be my school. Right now, I'm gonna move on to college, so I do think I need to kind of work on my time management and as well as my social skills. I feel like if I take like the skills I got here, like accountability and all that, I will be able to kind of manage it, my like new schedule over there. So I feel like I could just work on just setting times for things and just stop procrastinating. I think I could do good for that new stage of my life.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because definitely that time in college is one of our alumni here will piece of information that they'll give you is how organized you have to be because timelines can and how like you really need to be on top of timelines and building out timelines for yourself and schedules. It's definitely an area where um, you know, schedules are really important and just to keep you on track for things so that you can have eyes on that because it's an easy thing to slip, especially because you don't have teachers, right, hounding you anymore. Like, okay, this is due, the other thing is due. They don't care. They have way too many students. So you're really, off on your own. Um, it's what we've been asking for all our lives, right? Like, I just want independence, but it's a double-edged sword sometimes. But thank you. All right, can we get one more volunteer? One more.
How about Barsha? Joke, just kidding. Abigail Romero.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know how good this answer is, but I wrote that I want to better my professional life because up until like the beginning of this year, I didn't really know what I wanted to do as a career. But thankfully I found something that I've been working on for like the past couple of months, and I want to like further explore it throughout the summer and like the rest of high school. So I said that I'm gonna try to like sign up for whatever activities or whatever things I can do to just get myself a little bit more involved and try to like really make sure that whatever I'm thinking that I want to do is really what I want to do.
Thank you, Abigail. I think that's a really important point too. I think some of us are know exactly what we want to do. We want to get into health or law or whatever it is. And some of us don't, and that's okay too. And sometimes that's part of the exploration in, university or in high school. And how will you know until you try things out? I think I shared with you guys some of you last week, but like at one point in high school, I wanted to be an architect. So I thought that's what I would be majoring in once I went on to college. And I found a summer program where I was allowed to study that. And I realized very quickly, well, that's not something I even want to attempt to do. I'm terrible at math. So it was like, process of elimination. I'm glad I figured that out sooner rather than later. So sometimes you just need to like try things out like that to get to a better understanding and also learn like what your skill set is in these different job functions. So it was a perfect answer, Abigail. Thank you. All right. Well, I think we're ready to move on to our next. What is that? What are we doing? Announcements now? Or 90-second workbook time? I think we just need yeah, there we go. All right. Do we have our celebratory slide? The next one? Okay, there we go. Woo! End of the semester. Thank you all for participating and always bringing it every single week. Each one of you, just every time you share something, it's really impactful, super meaningful, super thoughtful, authentic, and just we really appreciate you and your participation every single week and your dedication. Um, let's go to the next slide. All right. If you haven't finished your workbooks, please take this time now to complete. We'll put 90 seconds on the clock for you to finish up. All right. Hopefully you all were able to finish that up. I think we can move right into the announcements. All right, here are a few announcements. Your workbook and survey form, please be sure to finish all of these up by, or all of this up by tomorrow at 5 o'clock. That's your deadline. We have the Youth Champions Interest Form. I believe the link might be shared in the chat here, but you can sign up for next year if you have an interest in continuing this for next year. Whether you're a current student or a senior transitioning into college or an alum, any one of those key points, if you want to continue your mentorship here, we are accepting applications starting in August. So please be sure to mark your calendars for that. Although the interest form is available right now, but the applications will open in August. So sorry, that was a little confusing. And that link has been shared in the chat. The summer book club application form is open now. So it's open through May 8th. This is a great opportunity to for new members of the Summer Book Club. There's going to be 5 1-hour sessions. Those will be held on Wednesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. And then for continuing students or participants, there's going to be one 5-hour session held once a week on Wednesdays at 6 o'clock. So please be aware. Also, there's like a little incentive here. You can earn $20 per session for attending, participating, and submitting your assignments on time. And there's even a little extra bonus of $100 if you submit your assignment and you are selected, as the bet, like, the top assignment that was selected. So some interesting opportunities here. And then lastly is the SASH pickup form for students. This is a kind of wrap up, a nice little wrap up for the seniors that are graduating from Youth Champions. You have an opportunity to pick up your sashes at on May 16th from 3 to 5 p.m. Your parents are welcome to join you as well. So please be aware that the pickup location will be at Lee and Associates in downtown LA. Um, and if you plan on doing this, please fill out the form so uh, we can, this youth champs can figure that out, the logistics of that. That form will be dropped in the chat as well. So um, I think that is it. That's it for now. And oh my gosh. And just appreciate everyone and your time. And yeah, thank you to Youth Champs. Thank you to all the students. And I hope you've enjoyed this semester as much as I have. I've really enjoyed all of our time here together and hate when I have to miss. So I hope everyone has a great summer. And yeah. And congratulations to the seniors. I think we have to tip our caps to our seniors graduating as well. All right. Well, if that's it, if anybody has any questions and they want to hang on, I think we have a moment here. Other than that, I guess we'll see you all later. No questions? All right.